Well, tonight we confront the choices of those in power and the consequences for those they lead. Over the weekend, tragedy once again struck the river Namnai in Gasol, that's in Taraba State, where a wooden boat capsized, killing at least 3 people, including a pregnant woman. But this wasn't just another rainy season accident. This was a predictable and preventable disaster. In August 2024, the bridge collapsed, cutting off communities and forcing residents to ferry themselves and even their vehicles across the river on risky makeshift boats, as you can see on screen. Well, despite multiple government assurances and even contract awards, the bridge remains untouched, no doubt, and we're now faced with what seemed to be a major disaster. Had action been taken swiftly, these lives perhaps would not have been lost. I'm joined now by Ayodele Samuel, who's a journalist with Rock FM Jalingo, who's been tracking this issue on the ground. Oloye, thank you for joining us on the program. Let us walk us back to when this bridge collapsed in 2024 or so, and what happened afterwards. Was a makeshift bridge constructed? Just walk us through what has happened when it collapsed until now.
Okay, good evening, Nifemi. Thank you for having me this evening. Namne Bridge, located in Gasol local government area of Taraba State, last year, August, collapsed. It was in the news. And after then, After then, we had series of visits. Of course, politicians and public office holders would do their usual thing, visiting the site of Nani. After the bridge collapse, community gathered up to make a makeshift bridge with woods, but I think that didn't last during the rainy season, so we had to go back to using boats to ferry both human beings and vehicles to cross over to the other side. Namne Bridge is very critical to Taraba State because it connects Taraba State and the northeast to the southern part of Nigeria, meaning those coming from Yola, Adamawa, Gombe, even some international routes too, would have to use the highway to cross over to states like Benue, Ebonyi, to some even some part of Nasarawa State, and it's a very busy road. Since the collapse of the bridge last year, not much of government intervention have been seen. Few cases of incidents around the bridge until Friday, when we had a serious issue at the Namne Bridge where 3 people lost their life, including 22-year-old Aisha, who is pregnant. She died with an unborn child. And it took the Taraba State government 48 hours to issue a condolence to that incident. And it speaks volume of commitment of both the federal government, because it's a trunk, a federal road, and the Taraba State government commitment to repairing the bridge at Namne. Now, Namne is just more like a death trap. Nigerians, Tarabans are scared to cross this road over because you don't know what happens next. Yesterday evening, after every rainfall, we have a lot of people stranded at the bridge in Namne. As it is now, the water level has come down a little, but Tarabans are scared and are asking questions: when will Namne Bridge get the required attention, both from the federal government and from the state government beyond lip service?
The Taraba State government, we understand, awarded a 19 billion naira contract for the bridge after reportedly securing federal approval. And then in April, a federal minister visited, promising federal government-led reconstruction via the Northeast Development Commission within a week. What exactly happened after that visit? Did that federal promise override state's plans?
Oh, okay, thank you, Nifemi. Precisely March.
Go ahead, Oloye, I can hear you.
The Taraba State government awarded the country Namne Bridge. Okay, to rebuild and expand the Namne Bridge. The contract was awarded to Krembong Construction Company. My reporters were able to be on site spilling into April. The minister, a federal minister from Taraba State, Minister Development, Honorable Uba Megari, visited the site and announced that the federal government is taking over the project, and in a week's time, the federal government would mobilize contractors to come and commence the repair of the bridge. It's in public domain, where the minister said something will be done. If it's to provide a floating bridge, if it's to provide a temporary measure, if it's to commence the immediate repair or reconstruction of the bridge, promising Nigerians, promising Tarabans that in a week's time, Nifemi, it will surprise you to know that this is a week time since April. We've not yet gotten to that week. And you ask questions. A public office holder coming to tell us a week's time. That singular action override the state contracts given to Krembong, and Krembong was forced to leave the site for the federal government to construct the bridge. As it is today, nothing is happening at the Namne bridge site.
Right.
What we have there is tragedy that happened last Friday.
Let me play for you an excerpt of exactly what the Minister of State for Regional Development said when he visited that bridge in April.
But as a responsible government, we are not leaving anything to chance. You all know that we are supposed to be on holidays, but that is no excuse. We took a break from the holiday to personally assess the state of damage, level of damage, to see how best we can remediate the situation as fast as possible. That is why we're here.
Well, as fast as possible, he indeed mentioned that something will be done in a week. But we now know that no side has mobilized the site months after both federal and state governments claimed to be in charge. But the minister did say during that visit that they are in talks with the state governor. So you wonder why the project is still in limbo. Who really takes responsibility for the delay?
Thank you, Nifemi. Tarabans are not interested in who takes responsibility. Tarabans are interested in not dying because they want to cross a bridge. Tarabans are interested in having a bridge. Government, both the state government, both the federal government, both the local government, whatsoever. Because as it is now, it's a blame game between the federal government and the state government with a lot of insinuation. What we have today is the state government looking handicapped in the area, in the case of Namne, and the federal government also not living up to the responsibility of the promise the federal minister made at the Namne Bridge site 4 months ago. What we have today now is a situation whereby the families of the victims are not even interested in who should do this bridge. What they are just interested in, the bridge. The questions Tarabas are asking is, we need the bridge, either from the state government or from the federal government.
I hear you clearly, and I understand your point, the fact that people are still dying, including just this weekend, trying to cross a river that should have had a functioning bridge. And I also get the point that this speaks a lot about governance, priorities, and intergovernmental coordination in the country. But we've also seen in time past how state governments, in one way or the other, get themselves involved, even if the road is federal, considering the urgency of rehabilitation, which the state government actually did with a contract you mentioned earlier. In fact, the commissioner claimed at the time that they had gotten permission from the federal government to fix the road. So it points a lot to the Taraba state government as to why that wasn't followed up with and why that bridge is still in the state it is currently.
I think we should also be worried about the communication between the Taraba state governor and the minister. If the minister in 7. Is going out to the governor and said, please, can you go ahead with your plan? Because this thing borders more for the people. Okay, we are not having our way as at the 1 week's time we promise. Please, can you go with your plan? Is there that communication? The Taraba State government too owes us that explanation to tell us if there was a communication between them in regards to the delay of this bridge. However, we need to point it clearly that the state government made an attempt to repair this bridge. The state government mobilized a contractor to repair this bridge. But intervention of the federal government from a minister, when the minister was making that pronouncement, he said conclusively, as reported in the media, that I speak for the federal government, meaning that, and assumed that every paperwork must have been perfected in Abuja before coming to Namne to tell us the bridge will commence next week.
I hear you clearly, and it also brings to mind precisely what should have happened prior to this time vis-a-vis what we are seeing happening right now. But what has been what do you make of the state government's position? Have you heard from them following this incident? You mentioned that a condolence message was sent 48 hours after 3 people died.
Okay, the state government has issued a condolence message and blaming blaming human errors and all of the likes in their condolences, which to some of us came very late. Having the condolence almost over 48 hours after the incident speaks a lot of volume. However, there's another point we need to drag to this. Namne Bridge is just one of the challenges of roads in Taraba State. The Jalingo-Numan Road is a death trap. All entry points to Taraba State by roads are death trap. If you are traveling from to Taraba State through Wukari, where the state shares border with Benue State, you'll be traveling through Kastina, Lazaki, Biam, Jota into Wukari. That road is a death trap. It's not motorable. In fact, not motorable for over the years, and you wonder, is Taraba State part of the 36 states in this country that we don't even have a functional federal road, a federal road that it's good to drive on? And the state governments,
it's all right.
How much are they engaging the federal government to fix this problem?
Mr. Samuel, we have to go now quickly. What are your final thoughts in this regard? What do people in Taraba expect to happen in the coming days?
Okay, what people in Taraba are expecting is the Namne Bridge should be fixed, either by the state government, by the federal government. They just want to drive over a river that's claiming life in Namne. That's all.
Adele Samuel, journalist covering developments in Taraba. Thank you so much for talking to us on Beyond the Headlines.
Thank you, Nifemi, for having me.